Good morning friends, welcome to Raj Malhotra IAS. So guys, here we are about to start the session. Just give me a minute, I will be providing the PDF for today's session. So just give me a minute, I will be providing the PDF. So I will be directly uploading the PPT itself, as I don't know the reason why PDF was not converted. So I tried to convert the PPT into PDF, but there was some issue in that. So we will be uploading the PPT only. So it has been available on our Telegram group. You can download the PPT from Telegram group. सीधा जाके आप वहाँ से डाउनलोड कर सकते हो. Sufficient number of people have joined us. Okay, Mohit, Ajay, Pranjal, Pooja, Ganesh, Vicky, Mahi, good morning. Good morning everyone. So friends, I would like to tell you, Kirti, Yashuni, that in the coming days we will be announcing some public administration batches. Okay, pub batches will be announced, so those who are interested, they can definitely connect with us. Yamandeep, good morning. Rahul, good morning. So I will let you know the dates and all, so details will be provided to you. Okay, so let's start the session. Let's see what exactly is there for us in today's newspaper. And before directly rushing to the newspaper, let's see what is there in it, in this particular, you can say, slide or the quote that is given by Albert Einstein. So Jaya, good morning. Now the most important human endeavor is this striving for morality in our actions. Our inner balance or even very existence depend on it. Only morality in our actions can give beauty and dignity to life. Okay, so this is the point that Albert Einstein has raised. He has said that your whole existence, human existence, depends upon your morality and whether your actions are right or not. आपके एक्शंस सही है कि नहीं है, उस चीज के ऊपर जो है आपका एग्जिस्टेंस डिपेंड करता है. Why this statement has been made by him, and what's the importance of morality? Okay, the morality will be like you will be able to take right actions in your life. You will be guided to take right actions, right step, right path in your life. Okay, then the second statement says that, second line says that our inner balance or our very existence depend on it. Okay, that your inner balance, how stable you are as an individual. If you are following right path in your life, if you are following right method, right ways, definitely you will be able to maintain your balance. You will be calm inside. जब हम सब कुछ सही करते हैं तो एक calmness होती है अंदर हमारे. Okay, you will feel more satisfied than other individuals. Now there are people who are opting for wrong methods, जो गलत रास्ते पे जाते हैं, immoral methods यूज करते हैं. You will find that they are not at their peace. वो शांति इनको बिल्कुल भी नहीं मिलती है. Okay, this is the point you have to understand. So only morality in our actions can give beauty and dignity to life. That's the other importance of morality, that if you are going ahead with the right path, right direction, it will automatically bring beauty and dignity to your life. You will have a balanced life. You will be able to utilize your energy in the best possible way. आप अपनी लाइफ के अंदर अपनी एनर्जी को बेस्ट पॉसिबल वे में यूटिलाइज कर पाओगे. दिस इज व्हाट इट इज. दिस इज व्हाट इट इज. ओके, सो यू कैन कोट, यू कैन नोट डाउन दिस पर्टिकुलर स्टेटमेंट. आप अपने नोट्स में लिख लीजिए, बिकॉज डेफिनेटली इन योर जीएस पेपर 3, okay, sorry, GS paper 4, there can be multiple areas where you can use this particular statement. आप इस statement को use कर सकते हो. Definitely if the question is around morality, आप वहाँ पे इसको quote कर सकते हो. This could be your concluding remark. आपके answer का concluding remark हो सकता है. Okay, so that's one point here. Morality, use it in the question related to morality, as simple as that. Then you can use it if there is a question related to corruption. अगर corruption के ऊपर भी आता है कोई question, there again this particular you can say statement can be fit in. And at the end of the day you will find that the corrupt individual, he will be never at peace. कभी भी शांति नहीं होगी, अंदर एक तरीके से डर लगा रहेगा. Okay, so we cannot say that his life is going to be beautiful, and there will be definitely no dignity, because people will not respect him. जनता तो बिल्कुल respect नहीं करेगी. Okay, so in that particular scenario, in that particular question, this can be put in as a direct point. बिल्कुल सीधा point आप यहाँ पे लिख सकते हो. Okay, this is what it is. This is what it is. Now, in your essay, as you have seen this year, like philosophical essay, they are very popular. Okay, look at the pattern in which UPSC is asking the essay paper. So they are not giving you choices. आपको choices वहाँ पे नहीं मिल रही हैं. Philosophical essays आ रहे हैं. There itself you can use this particular statement. वहाँ पे आप लिख सकते हो उस essay के अंदर. If the topic for essay is related to life, if the topic is related to dignity, etc., etc., you can directly link it. आप वहाँ पे इसको भी link कर सकते हो. Okay, so this is what it is. This is what it is. How we will be utilizing this particular statement. And at the end of the day, inner balance, that is your mental peace. Okay, if you want to achieve anything in your life, and if you are not at peace in your mind, you will be distracted. You will not be able to channelize your energy. जब आपके दिमाग में शांति नहीं होगी, आप कभी भी अपनी एनर्जी को चैनलाइज नहीं कर पाओगे. ओके, सो हैविंग अ ब्लिसफुल स्टेट इज द मिनिमम रिक्वायरमेंट फॉर सक्सेस. आप यूपीएससी की प्रिपरेशन करना चाहते हो, यू हैव टू बी रियली फ्री ऑफ इश्यूज इन योर माइंड. दिमाग में शांति होना बहुत जरूरी है, इनर बैलेंस होना बहुत जरूरी है. एंड देयर द मोरालिटी इज गोइंग टू हेल्प यू आउट. मोरालिटी इज गोइंग टू गाइड यू. सो दिस इज व्हाट वी हैव. दिस इज व्हाट वी हैव इन दिस पर्टिकुलर यू कैन से स्टेटमेंट. नाउ विल डायरेक्टली मूव टू द newspaper section. Okay, so we'll see what exactly is there for us in this newspaper. Now, China to ease curbs on entry of Indian students. Okay, definitely some restrictions were brought in by China. We know that China has a policy of zero COVID policy. Okay, there were some students, nearly 20,000 Indian students who were studying in China, and their career has been impacted by that. And right now they are ready to ease the restrictions that were brought by them, and these particular students, they can go back and they can continue their education. Okay, so this is the whole point that is there. Other than that, there is nothing much. Okay, now I would like to take you to the really very important concern that is going on in this country, and that is related to the power crisis. Okay, so today itself I can tell you, like just before the start of this particular session, there was a load shedding. Load shedding in the sense that there was a power cut that experienced, okay, that we experienced for 2 hours. There was a power cut. So right now the light is available, but we cannot promise that how long the light will be there. Okay. Now the point is this: what exactly is the reason for this particular scenario? क्या रीजन है इस पावर क्राइसिस का आज की डेट में? ओके, व्हाट इज द रीजन? राइट नाउ यू कैन सी दैट पैसेंजर ट्रेन्स दे हैव बीन कैंसल्ड सो दैट रेल्स आर क्लियर, ट्रेन की लाइनें का सारी की सारी क्लियर हो जाएं, एंड बिकॉज ऑफ दैट एंड फॉर दैट कि भी आपकी जो बाकी ट्रेन्स हैं, कोल जहां से आ रहा है, वो एकदम स्पीडी मैनर में अपने डेस्टिनेशन तक पहुंच जाए. ओके, दिस इज द रीजन व्हाई द पैसेंजर ट्रेन्स दे हैव बीन कैंसल्ड. अब पॉइंट ये है कि कोल की डिलीवरी को फास्ट करने के लिए ये किया गया है. दैट डजंट मीन दैट कि पैसेंजर ट्रेन्स के अंदर कोयला भर भर के लेके जा रहे हैं, ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं है. द नॉर्मल फ्रेट ट्रेन्स आर देयर, बट दे विल बी कैरिंग द कोल टू द डेस्टिनेशन, द रिस्पेक्टिव पावर प्लांट्स. The point is this: you need to understand, you must have heard about India is diversifying its energy requirement, we are moving towards renewable, okay, but reality is different. So 70% of your electricity generation is still from the thermal units. Okay, thermal units के ऊपर आपकी dependence है. Primarily you can say that 66% of the electricity is from the coal based thermal units. कोल बेस्ड थर्मल यूनिट से आप इलेक्ट्रिसिटी निकाल रहे हो. इट मीन्स दैट ओवर द नाइट यू कैन नॉट रिड्यूस योर डिपेंडेंस. ऑलरेडी द इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर हैज बीन क्रिएटेड, द कोल प्लांट्स आर एग्जिस्टिंग, सब कुछ एग्जिस्ट कर रहा है, सब कुछ एग्जिस्ट कर रहा है. ओके, नाउ यू नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड, दिस इज द पिक्चर दैट वी हैव इन दिस पर्टिकुलर, यू कैन से, सिनेरियो. Coal crisis or energy crisis, this is not just confined to India. In whole of South Asia, including Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, okay, Bhutan, Nepal, this crisis is going on. This is not just confined to India. Nepal and Bhutan, they might not be impacted by that because they have a hydel power production. उनके वहाँ पे hydel power का अच्छा खासा production होता है, तो उनके अंदर कोई खास problem नहीं है. Other than that, Pakistan, they are facing this shortage. Okay, Bhutan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, they all are facing the shortage. Now there are multiple reasons why this particular coal shortage is there. ये coal shortage आपकी हो क्यों रही है? There are multiple reasons. Okay, now you need to understand one thing. One of the reason is around the Russia-Ukraine war. Why I am bringing this particular war angle in it? Okay, so you need to understand one thing, right? We know this thing that the war has started, okay, earlier, just before the start of this war, Europe in totality, they used to get dependent on gas based electricity generation. वो गैस बेस्ड इलेक्ट्रिसिटी जनरेशन के ऊपर डिपेंडेंट थे. ओके, दे यूज टू इंपोर्ट गैस फ्रॉम रशिया, रशिया से गैस इंपोर्ट होती थी, एंड दैट पर्टिकुलर नेचुरल गैस वाज यूज्ड टू रन देयर पावर प्लांट्स. ओके, वहां से उनके इलेक्ट्रिसिटी प्रोडक्शन वाले यूनिट्स चलते थे. नाउ व्हाट हैपेंड, दिस गैस हैज बीन डिसरप्टेड. आज की डेट में द सप्लाई हैज बीन डिसरप्टेड. सो दीज यूरोपियन कंट्रीज, दे आर मूविंग टूवर्ड्स कोल बेस्ड प्रोडक्शन यूनिट्स. तो जितने भी कोल बेस्ड प्रोडक्शन यूनिट्स उनके यहाँ पे स्टेटिक थे, दोज वर नॉन फंक्शनल, दे हैव रिवाइव्ड दोज कोल बेस्ड प्रोडक्शन यूनिट. वो सारे के सारे कोल बेस्ड प्रोडक्शन यूनिट उन्होंने रिवाइव कर दिए हैं. नाउ द पॉइंट इज दिस, these European countries are again moving back to coal and they have big pockets. It means that they can afford the expensive coal. उनके पास पैसा बहुत है, ठीक है ना, उनके पास पैसा बहुत है. They can afford the expensive coal. That's the point you have to understand. So I would like to tell you one thing, like if you have heard in 2021 as well, there was a, you can say, crisis like situation at that time. Say take example of Australian coal. Okay, so these are the major countries which are coal producing. ये सारे areas में coal मिलता है. So take example of Australian coal, which is one of the major exporter of coal as well. So in 2021, okay, the price for per ton of coal, okay, the price for per ton of coal was $280. Okay, $280. Right now it has reached to $440. ये $440 हो गया है. And I would like to take you back to 2020. At that time, the price of per ton coal was nearly $100. So this was a significant increase. If you see over past 2 years, there have been a major increase. तकरीबन तकरीबन ये 440 तक पहुंच गया है. Okay, from 100 to 440. So this is the point that you have to understand, and this is one of the reason why the coal shortage is there. The point is this: these European countries, they can still afford the expensive coal. उनको तो महंगा खरीद सकते हैं वो. What about us? What about us? Okay, country like India, we are, you can say, facing the shortage. And apart from that, this is the whole picture that is there. भी coal कहाँ पे available है. तो these European countries, they are not just buying coal from Australians, they are buying it from every source. From wherever they can procure, they are going for procurement. जहां से मिल रहा है वहां से ले रहे हैं वो, ठीक है ना. This is one point here. Now, as you can see, this particular part, okay, this is Russia region. ये है आपका रशिया का region, okay, and the coal is also available in China. The point is this: Russia is not exporting its coal, okay, means in the international market, the coal is not coming. What Russians are doing, they are thinking that when the coal prices are going to be high, okay, when the coal prices are going to be high, at that time they will think of exporting their coal. उस time पे वो अपना coal को export करेंगे, okay. So this is how things are, you can say, looked upon. And in the international market, there is a major crunch of coal that is going on. Shortage हो गई है coal की, okay. This is the reason why country like India is also facing this shortage. Now I would like to tell you this thing: India also has the coal production, okay. हमारे यहाँ पे भी coal production होता है, like it has major coal producing areas, okay. So right now you should be knowing this, like Jharkhand has the highest coal reserve. झारखंड का highest coal reserve है, ये हमें मालूम होना चाहिए, okay. Other than that, there are areas where coal is available here. The point is related to the capacity of coal production, okay. Now capacity of coal production की बात करते हैं इंडिया के अंदर. तो डोमेस्टिक कोल प्रोडक्शन की बात करेंगे जब हम, ओके, देयर आर सम कंसर्न्स, देयर आर सम इश्यूज. वन ऑफ द इशू इज, यू मस्ट हैव हर्ड ऑफ कोल स्कैम. आपने सुना होगा कोल स्कैम के बारे में, ओके. सो the, you can say, hearings are going on in Supreme Court, matter is being discussed, okay. corruption हुआ, कैसे coal block allocate हुआ, हमें सब पता है उसके बारे में. अब प्रॉब्लम क्या आ रही है? Under this coal scam, the coal mines were allotted to the private players. Coal mines जो है वो आप private players को आपने allot की, and those particular mines, they are, you can say, they are not being utilized till now. वो जो माइंस थी वहां से प्रोडक्शन तो कभी स्टार्ट ही नहीं हुआ, ओके. वहां से प्रोडक्शन कभी स्टार्ट नहीं हुआ, बिकॉज मैटर इज स्टिल विद द सुप्रीम कोर्ट. हियरिंग्स आर गोइंग ऑन. इट मींस दैट आपका प्राइवेट प्लेयर तो कोल निकाल नहीं रहा है. नेक्स्ट responsibility rests with the Coal India Limited, okay. No doubt Coal India Limited, which is a public sector undertaking, it is producing coal. काफी coal वो निकाल रहे हैं. They have increased their capacity. अपनी capacity भी उन्होंने increase कर दी है, but still there are lot of inefficiencies that are there, okay. Whatever is the demand right now, the Coal India Limited has not been able to meet that demand. जितनी कोल की हमारे यहाँ पे डिमांड चल रही है, उतनी ये डिमांड अभी मीट नहीं कर पाए हैं. सो दिस इज द सिनेरियो दैट यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड. सो दिस इज द डोमेस्टिक रीजन दैट you may be having the coal resource in your country, but the point is this: the capacity to extract coal, produce coal, is still very limited. And your PSU, like Coal India Limited, it has its own issues, and this is the reason why the coal production is down in your country. अनदर देन दैन कोल स्कैम होता है, सुप्रीम कोर्ट के अंदर मामला चल रहा है, कोर्ट में चल रहा है, मतलब माइनिंग प्राइवेट प्लेयर तो कर ही नहीं रहा है, ओके. एंड यू अलॉटेड दीज पर्टिकुलर माइंस टू प्राइवेट प्लेयर सो दैट द कोल शॉर्टेज कैन बी एड्रेस्ड, बट आपके यहाँ पे तो ऐसा हो नहीं रहा है. सो दिस इज द अनदर प्रॉब्लम दैट इज देयर, ओके. इन totality, you see, this is the whole issue. These are the reasons why we face this particular present crisis. ये सारे reason हैं जो आपको समझने हैं कि क्यों हमारे यहाँ पे power shortage हो रही है, okay. This is what it is. This is what it is. Now, Europe, if we talk about Europe, do they have any alternative? The point is this: there are countries like Germany, okay. Now, Germany, they moved away from atomic, you can say, nuclear power generation. वो न्यूक्लियर पावर जनरेशन से पीछे हट चुके हैं. ओके, दे हैव रिड्यूस्ड देयर डिपेंडेंस ऑन न्यूक्लियर बिकॉज ऑफ द फुकुशिमा क्राइसिस. ओके, आफ्टर दैट दे थॉट दैट इट कैन बी डिजास्टरस टू यूज द न्यूक्लियर पावर, सो दे आर मूविंग अवे फ्रॉम दैट. वो उससे दूर हट रहे हैं. ठीक है ना. सो दूर हट रहे हैं मीन्स दे हैव टू यूज for, you have to go for the alternatives. If you talk about thermal, they were dependent on gas based thermal productions. Okay, and there, जब हम गैस बेस्ड थर्मल प्रोडक्शन की बात करते हैं, वहां पे कहीं ना कहीं जो है अब कमी आ गई है. सो दिस इज द रीजन व्हाई यूरोप इज सकिंग अप ऑल द कोल रिसोर्सेज इन द वर्ल्ड. जहां जहां से भी कोयला इनको मिल रहा है वो लेके जा रहे हैं. ओके, दिस इज द मेजर रीजन व्हाई द कोल प्रोडक्शन इज डाउन इन द होल वर्ल्ड एंड दिस क्राइसिस इज लूमिंग. तो ये सारी कहानी है. ओके, जो आपको समझनी होगी. एंड इट मीन्स दैट वी नीड टू हैव अ, यू कैन से, big pockets if you seriously want to deal with this type of crisis. Okay, आपके पास पैसा तो होना चाहिए. And we have seen how there was a crisis like situation as multiple countries they were still struggling with their economies. उनकी economies अभी भी down थी. Okay, due to corona and all, so they may not have the money. अब बात करते हैं पाकिस्तान की. ओके, पाकिस्तान इज ऑल्सो फेसिंग दिस मेजर क्राइसिस, बट पाकिस्तान क्या कर रहा है? पाकिस्तान इज स्टिल थिंकिंग दैट चाइना विल कम एंड रेस्क्यू पाकिस्तान, कि कहीं ना कहीं चाइना रेस्क्यू करेगा. ओके, चाइनीज आर डूइंग व्हाट चाइनीज आर डूइंग. चाइनीज आर, यू कैन से, होर्डिंग द कोल. चाइनीज जो है कोल को होर्ड कर रहे हैं, वो एक्सट्रैक्ट कर रहे हैं और अपने पास इकट्ठा करके रखते जा रहे हैं. ओके, दे आर ऑल्सो नॉट डंपिंग देयर कोल इन द इंटरनेशनल मार्केट, कि भी इंटरनेशनल मार्केट से कोई खरीद ले. चाइना इज ऑल्सो वन ऑफ द मेजर इंपोर्टर ऑफ कोल्स, काफ़ी इंपोर्ट भी करता है वो. सो all these scenarios are going on. ठीक है ना. So that's why this is a mixture of reasons because of which we are facing this coal crisis. Okay, this is what we have here. So we'll move to the next part on this particular page. Other than that there is nothing much, कुछ खास नहीं है यहाँ पे. Okay, so we'll directly move to the editorial section. सीधा editorial section के ऊपर जाएंगे and try to figure it out what exactly is there for us. Okay, so here we are moving towards editorial section. Now this is what we have here. Okay, so an interpretation of the French elections. Now this editorial is discussing about few things that, okay, recently the French elections were concluded. We know that Macron, okay, he is a front runner and he will be winning and he is re-elected with 58.5% votes. Okay, ये votes इनको मिले हैं, but there are some alarming situations that have erupted. Alarming in the sense that, like, first of all you need to understand Macron, this victory is really very significant. Why I am saying this victory is significant? Because he has been able to deal with major, you can say, crises that were there in the whole world. Now he faced something called Yellow Vest movement. Okay, so what is this Yellow Vest movement? So I would like to tell you one thing. So few years back the government of France, okay, they increased the taxes. टैक्स इन्होंने इंक्रीज किए स्पेसिफिकली टू रिड्यूस द पॉल्यूशन. ओके, जो पॉल्यूटिंग आइटम थे उनके ऊपर टैक्सेस इंक्रीज किए. एंड पीपल ऑफ फ्रांस दे स्टार्टेड प्रोटेस्टिंग अगेंस्ट द गवर्नमेंट. दे वर नॉट हैप्पी विद दिस टाइप ऑफ डेवलपमेंट. वो बिल्कुल भी इस चीज से खुश नहीं थे. एंड दे स्टार्टेड प्रोटेस्टिंग अगेंस्ट द गवर्नमेंट. एंड द सिंबलिज्म फॉर दैट प्रोटेस्ट वाज दे ऑल विल बी वेयरिंग द येलो वेस्ट्स. सो ये येलो वेस्ट जो है, ये एक तरीके से जैकेट जो आती है, ये पहन के इन्होंने प्रोटेस्ट जो है वो गवर्नमेंट के अगेंस्ट किया. देयर वर राइट्स एज वेल. कहीं पे जो है राइट्स भी हुए, आग भी लगा दी गई थी. ओके, सो ऑल दैट हैपेंड एंड मैक्रो वाज एबल टू सर्वाइव दैट. इवन आफ्टर दिस टाइप ऑफ प्रोटेस्ट ही हैज बीन री इलेक्टेड. ओके, ये दोबारा री इलेक्ट होके आ जाते हैं. दैट्स व्हाई इट्स अ रियली बिग थिंग फॉर हिम. बट द पॉइंट इज दिस, इफ यू लुक इनटू द फ्रेंच पॉलिटिक्स राइट नाउ, there are a lot of other developments that are taking place. Okay, so one of the thing is this. क्या reason है कि क्या development हो रही है यहाँ पे? Now the point is this, the right is also gaining the ground. So this time maybe it's Macron again, but next time those individuals which have the policy of anti-immigration and all, they are also gaining the ground, their popularity is also increasing, and that's the alarming thing. वो सबसे ज़्यादा डरने की ज़रूरत है हमें. ओके, सो वी हैव टू स्टिल वेट एंड वॉच क्या यहाँ पे फ्रांस की पॉलिटिक्स रहती है. सो दिस इज व्हाट वाज देयर इन दिस पर्टिकुलर एडिटोरियल. सो नाउ विल मूव टू द नेक्स्ट वन. आगे वाले पे चलते हैं. सो हियर दिस एडिटोरियल इज mentioning few things regarding the statement made by the home minister. So home minister said that, like, for your interstate, you can say, conversation or communication, Hindi should be used. Okay, instead of English, you can say Hindi should be more popularized for your official work and all. This is what he said. So this was his statement, and that has erupted another issue regarding the linguistic system that is there in India. So I would like to tell you this thing. In India, you have a multiplicity of languages. Okay, there are multiple languages that are there, multiplicity of languages there. Now this is the reason when you have multiplicity of languages. Okay, जब इतनी सारी languages हैं तो definitely problem आ सकती है, and you cannot choose one particular language over other. एक लैंग्वेज को दूसरे के ऊपर हम नहीं रख सकते. दिस इज द पॉइंट हेयर. ओके, you cannot choose one particular language over other. That's the point here. Now the point is this, in this scenario, what should be the way out? Should we still go to the English? Okay, or should we go ahead with the Hindi? And to what extent Hindi is popular? कितनी पॉपुलर है हिंदी, ये सबसे बड़ा सवाल है. ओके, सो देर आर मल्टीपल, यू कैन से, पॉइंट्स दैट आर एग्जिस्टिंग. सो हियर यू नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड. Let's look into this particular editorial. So this editorial is pointing towards few things. It is saying that imposing Hindi would be catastrophic. Okay, and further it is said that instead of going ahead with this, we need to have this multilinguistic policy that is existing. And in India, we have linguistic pluralism. More than one languages are being spoken by the people. Okay, so as per the 1961 census, there were nearly 1652 mother tongues that were existing. 1652 mother tongues. Okay, so इतनी ज़्यादा diversity है हमारे यहाँ पे. Now in that scenario, you cannot give importance to one language. वो तो बिल्कुल भी नहीं हो सकती है. ठीक है जी, this is one point here. Other than that, there are some things that this data also points that 52 crore people, okay, they present Hindi as their mother tongue. But you need to understand, when you talk about Hindi itself is not one uniform language. एक यूनिफॉर्म हिंदी लैंग्वेज नहीं है. देर आर लॉट ऑफ डायलेक्ट्स दैट आर एग्जिस्टिंग. बहुत सारे डायलेक्ट्स हैं यहाँ पे. हरियाणवी इज एन डायलेक्ट, लाइक राजस्थानी इज अ डायलेक्ट. ओके, so Bhojpuri is a dialect. So this thing should be clear to you that Hindi, when you talk about Hindi itself, is not uniform. एक लैंग्वेज नहीं है, बहुत सारी लैंग्वेजेस आ रही हैं यहाँ पे. Okay, this is the point. So you have different parts of this country: Rajasthan, Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Haryana, Bihar, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, Jharkhand. There is still very diversity in the Hindi, you can say, speaking population. So in totality, if you see, Hindi is probably spoken by not more than 30% of the population. And Hindi is not a lingua franca. It means that Hindi is not a language of common masses. That's the reality. This is what was said. Okay, when Hindi is not a language of common masses, how can you bring this idea and impose Hindi on whole of the population? So we have to learn from our neighbors. So you have Pakistan. Now in Pakistan, there was, you can say, an initiative by the politicians, and these politicians wants to impose Urdu on the whole of Pakistani population. पूरे पाकिस्तान के ऊपर उर्दू वो बनाना चाहते थे. And we know that how people living in the ईस्ट पाकिस्तान, दैट इज योर बांग्लादेश, आज की डेट में जो ईस्ट, जो बांग्लादेश है, जो पहले ईस्ट पाकिस्तान होता था, पीपल लिविंग देयर, दे वर मेजरली बंगाली स्पीकिंग पॉपुलेशन. And this particular idea of imposing one language on them, this was also one of the reason why they started protesting against the Pakistani government, and they started the demand for liberation. This is also one of the reason. Okay, क्योंकि उर्दू उन्होंने इम्पोज करने की कोशिश की थी, and this didn't go well with the Bengali population, and they thought that okay, what's the point of staying with them? ये तो हमें अपनी लैंग्वेज बदलने के लिए बोल रहे हैं, हम अलग हो जाते हैं. Same, you can say, same thing we can learn from Sri Lanka as well. Now in Sri Lanka as well, there was a major civil war that was fought. The civil war was fought against the Tamil rebels, and the starting point for this rebellion was that Sinhala only act, that they tried to impose the Sinhalese language, which didn't go well with the Tamil speaking population. So this is the reason, this is the reason, and there was a civil war like situation. Okay, the war prolonged, war chalta raha. Another point you need to understand, another example is your Singapore. Now Singapore maintained the multi-ethnic population. They brought the idea that we will have English as a language for official work. Okay, so what outcome that it produced, it popularized the English, and English language, English speaking population of Singapore, they will be able to extract more jobs. वहाँ पे नौकरियां आने लगी, and Singapore became a global business hub. So if India is aspiring to become a global business hub, definitely there is no harm in using English as a language of communication specifically for your official work. कोई problem नहीं है. So you have multiple examples, successful examples like Singapore, South Africa, where choosing English has produced good for them. उनके लिए अच्छा हुआ है इंग्लिश को चूज करना. ओके, एंड ऑप्टिंग अ पर्टिकुलर लैंग्वेज ओवर द अदर इज डिजास्टरस. आपकी लोकल लैंग्वेज में से अगर आप कोई चूज करते हो तो वो डिजास्टर ही होगा, लाइक वी हैव सीन इन केस ऑफ पाकिस्तान एंड श्रीलंका. So this is what we should know, this is what we should know. Other than that, here there is nothing much, कुछ खास नहीं है यहाँ पे. We'll directly move to the next section. Okay, so curfew in Patiala after clash over anti-Khalistan march, one arrested. Okay, so this sort of like protests were there. So people are saying that these protests, some of the protests are, you can say, organized by the politicians themselves, as they want to create problem in the state. वो state के अंदर problem create करना चाहते हैं. This is one of the reason, this is one of the reason. Okay, this point you have to understand. So ये सारी बात जो है ये यहाँ पे बताई गई है, ठीक है ना, ये सारी बात जो है ये यहाँ पे बताई गई है. तो we have to still wait and watch. Situation is really very tense. Okay, so if you are dividing the society on the communal lines, it is not good for the country. That's one point here. So other than that, power coal crisis due to the government mismanagement, I do agree to this particular point. Why if this situation was in making, okay, देखो पहली बात समझो आप, ये situation was in making है. Why I am saying this? Look at the policies that the government is having. Okay, now policy की अगर हम बात करें तो here we are giving electricity for free. Now if you are giving electricity for free, it means that your discoms, that is your distribution companies, power distribution companies, they will not be able to procure power. उनका power procurement नहीं होगा. Okay, they will not be able to procure power. That's the point here. अगर हम बात करें इंडिया के अंदर, if we would have followed this particular component that okay, power producing, now power producing companies that are there, okay, now their production has increased because coal is expensive. coal expensive है तभी तो उनका production बढ़ा है. Now if your discoms would have been able to buy power at an expensive price, अगर discoms थोड़ा power पैसा increase होने की वजह से या price increase होने की वजह से expensive power भी खरीद पाता, then your power producers, they would have got more money, they would have bought more, you can say, coal. वो ज़्यादा coal यहाँ से procure कर सकते थे, they would have got more money. This is the reason you have to understand. You have to understand that your freebies politics, this is one of the reason that your discoms are not in good shape. आपकी distribution companies की हालत सही नहीं है. Okay, so ये भी एक reason है जो हमें समझना होता है यहाँ पे. तो इसलिए बोल से कि coal crisis and all, this is the mismanagement by the government. I do agree with this. I do agree with this. और ये problem जब 2021 में हुई थी, so there were again some chances. You have bureaucrats sitting over there, इतने IAS officers हैं, they need to, you know, preempt the problems that the power sector is going to face. उनमें इतनी ability तो होनी चाहिए ना कि वो problems को समझ सकें, preempt कर सकें, that okay, Russia Ukraine war is going on, वहाँ पे अब coal based procurement यूरोप ज़्यादा कर रहा है, and Europe has heavy pockets, they are affordable, they are able to afford the, you know, expensive coal, तो सारा coal तो उनको दे दिया जाएगा. ठीक है ना. सो ये चीज मालूम होनी चाहिए हमें. ओके, तो दिस इज ऑल्सो द रीजन, दिस इज ऑल्सो द रीजन. अदर देन दैट, डिस्कस्ड curbs on NGOs and JK issue European officials. Okay, so European officials, they were here and they discussed few matters. See, you need to understand, when you talk about European Union, they are really very concerned about the national, you can say, like human rights situation in India. And like they are concerned about the human rights that are there in India. They have earlier also reported that in India human rights violations are going on in Kashmir and other parts. Okay, then they have a major concern regarding the banning of NGOs, that is cancellation of registration of NGOs under FCRA. Okay, that is Foreign Contribution Regulatory Act. So some of the European NGOs that are quite functional in India, they have lost their registration. They are not able to operate in India. They are not allowed to operate in India because they have lost their registration permissions under the FCRA component. Now they have this concern that India should allow these NGOs to function without any problem. But here I am saying this, India is not stopping them to function. हम कभी भी उनको ये नहीं कह रहे कि आप काम मत कीजिए. ओके, वी हैव नॉट पुट एनी सॉर्ट ऑफ स्टेटमेंट्स दैट यूरोपियन एनजीओज आर नॉट अलाउड और अदर एनजीओज आर नॉट अलाउड. व्हाट वी आर आस्किंग देम टू डू इज दैट कंप्लाई विद द लॉ ऑफ द लैंड. जो हमारे यहाँ पे कानून है, ओके, कंप्लाई विद द लॉ ऑफ द लैंड. वट एवर लॉ दैट वी हैव इन इंडिया, जस्ट कंप्लाई टू दैट. उसकी कंप्लायंस को पूरा कीजिए. ओके, दैट्स द पॉइंट यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड. सो वट एवर स्टेटमेंट्स दैट आर कमिंग आउट, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, हम बिल्कुल सही हैं उसके अंदर. दैट्स द पॉइंट विच इज देयर. ओके, सो विल मूव टू द नेक्स्ट पार्ट नाउ. आगे चलते हैं. ओके, रशियन एग्रेशन मस्ट नॉट बी टॉलरेटेड. नाउ देर आर सम थिंग्स दैट आर बीइंग रेज्ड हियर. वी डू अंडरस्टैंड इंडिया एंड रशिया, वी आर गुड फ्रेंड्स. ओके, इंडिया एंड रशिया, हमारा इक्वेशन अच्छा है एंड वी चेरिश दिस बायलैटरल ties that we have with each other. Okay, but if you learn from history, हिस्ट्री से अगर हम सीखें, what history tells us, okay, what was the reason why WW2, that is your World War II, started. Now even before the start of World War II, Hitler carried out attacks in some parts of Europe. Okay, हिटलर ने कुछ एक अटैक्स किए थे यूरोप के कुछ पार्ट्स में, एंड नो वन इंटरवीन्ड. ओके, नो वन इंटरवीन्ड. Now what does it mean? When no one intervenes, the party will consider or will think that they are unstoppable. Okay, they are unstoppable. So at present, NATO didn't intervene and didn't help Ukraine. Now NATO, if you talk about, NATO has nearly 35 lakh troops. इतने ट्रूप्स हैं इनके पास. ओके, इट हैज नियरली 35 लाख ट्रूप्स एंड दे डिडंट इंटरवीन टू हेल्प यूक्रेन. द पॉइंट इज दिस, इफ टुमारो रशिया फर्दर अटैक्स एनी अदर कंट्री, will NATO do something regarding that? That's the point here. That's why they are saying that Russian aggression must not be tolerated, because it is going to basically embolden Russia. And today Russia may not be attacking any other European country, but tomorrow we cannot rule that out. आप बिल्कुल भी उसे rule out नहीं कर सकते. That's the point which is there. Okay, that's the point which is there. Now there is another news. 6 of the 7 defense firms carved out of the Ordnance Factory Board, okay, shows provisional profit. Okay, so it was also a good thing that we got some of the export orders, और कुछ एक firms जो हैं आपके यहाँ पे performance अच्छा हुआ है. So we have seen how the Ordnance Factory Board, it was considered to be the, you can say, worst performing public sector undertaking. काफ़ी ख़राब इनका रिकॉर्ड था, and that's why new firms were carved out of this particular Ordnance Factory Board and their performance have improved. तो थोड़ी उनकी performance यहाँ पे improve हुई है. This is what has been mentioned here. And definitely when it comes to defense production, domestic defense production की जब हम बात करते हैं, it is really very important that your public sector units, they are competitive enough. Okay, उनके पास उतना competitiveness होनी चाहिए. And the point is this, we should also promote private sector participation in it. प्राइवेट सेक्टर भी इसमें आना चाहिए, ठीक है ना. सो दीज आर सम ऑफ द स्ट्रेटेजिक सेक्टर्स एंड देयर इज नो हार्म इफ प्राइवेट सेक्टर इज पार्टिसिपेटिंग इन इट, बिकॉज वर्ल्ड ओवर प्राइवेट सेक्टर्स दे आर ऑल्सो रनिंग लॉट ऑफ डिफेंस इंडस्ट्रीज. ओके, ऐसा चल रहा है. So this is how it is. This is how it is. Now Lieutenant General B.S. Raju is new Vice Chief of Army Staff. Okay, so he is a 3-star officer who will get the chance to become a Vice Chief of Army Staff. Now what does it mean? It means that he has not served as an army commander. Okay, तो ये लेफ्टिनेंट जनरल थे और लेफ्टिनेंट जनरल को प्रमोट करके ही विल बी प्रमोटेड टू द चीफ वाइस चीफ ऑफ आर्मी स्टाफ. ओके, देयर आर 19 months left in his services and this development is taking place. So what is the reason why a 3-star general he has been made vice chief? Normally if you see the 4-star general, they are being promoted as vice chiefs. Okay, so we know that the existing vice chief of the army staff, he is being promoted as chief here. Okay, so उनको chief बना दिया जाएगा. Lieutenant General Manoj Pandey. Okay, he will be promoted. He is the sitting vice chief of the army staff, and he will be promoted to the chief of the army staff. Okay, it is a rare instance that a 3-star officer will be taking over as a vice chief and later he will be serving as a commander. तो ये कुछ जो है हमारे यहाँ पे आर्मी के 7 कमांड है, उनमें से एक को ये हेड भी करेंगे आने वाले टाइम के अंदर. ओके, बट डेफिनेटली ही हैज बीन चोजन फॉर हिज यू कैन से competence and it's a good development. He is from the Jat regiment. Okay, so this is the whole information that is there. ये पूरी information है यहाँ पे. Other than that, heat waves linked to the man-made climate change. Okay, अब देखो ये heat wave को man-made climate change से कैसे link करेंगे? See, there are a lot of things that are happening. We know that we are burning fossils. Okay, we are burning fossils that are producing greenhouse gases. This is the point. This is one of the reason which is perpetuating the climate change here. Other than that, what other anthropogenic activities that are there? और कौन सी ऐसी anthropogenic activity है जो आपको नजर आती है? So you must have heard of something called urban heat islands. आपने इसके बारे में भी सुना होगा, urban heat islands के बारे में. Okay, the point is this: the concrete jungle that we are creating. Okay, जो ये concrete की building और जंगल हम बनाते जा रहे हैं, they are creating urban heat islands. That's the point. And this is also disrupting the existing you can say climate cycle. वहां से भी आपकी climate cycle जो है वो disrupt हो रही. So this is also the additional factor. This is also the additional factor. Okay, so you don't have, you can say when you have concrete structures, it means that the reflective angle of your heat, वो वापस कभी हीट जा ही नहीं पाती है. योर अर्थ सरफेस इज यू कैन से एब्जॉर्बिंग मोर हीट. आपका अर्थ सरफेस बहुत सारी हीट एब्जॉर्ब कर रहा है. ओके, एंड लाइक इट इज हीटिंग अप द होल अर्थ. वहां से आपकी पूरी अर्थ हीट अप हो रही है. सो दिस इज द पॉइंट दैट यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड. ये पूरी चीज आपको यहाँ पे समझनी जरूरी है, ठीक है ना. सो दैट वाज द रीजन. ओके, so at least 10 killed in powerful explosion in Kabul mosque. Okay, so terrorism is still you can say impacting Afghanistan, and it is being said that this particular attack explosion was carried out by the Islamic State. That's the most alarming thing for the whole world. Okay, ये सबसे ज़्यादा alarming चीज़ है, because it means that if Islamic State of Khorasan province, which is an organization which is quite popular in Afghanistan, and if this organization gains more popularity, it means that the impact of IS is coming nearer to the Indian borders. उसका ये मतलब है कि IS की popularity और impact Indian border के नज़दीक आ रहा है. Okay, it means that we may have some repercussion in India. हमारे यहाँ पे भी radicalization बढ़ सकता है, हमारे यहाँ पे भी issues जो हैं वो आ सकते हैं. That is the point that is there. This is the point that is there. Other than that, there is nothing much. Okay, कुछ खास नहीं है यहाँ पे. So Erdogan meets Saudi leaders in the first visit since Khashoggi killing. Okay, you must be knowing this. This was one journalist. He was killed. Okay, in Turkey, and the whole action was, you can say, carried out by the Saudi एम्बेसी देयर, ऐसा बोला जाता है कि सऊदी एम्बेसी के अंदर से कुछ ऐसा हुआ एंड दिस जर्नलिस्ट वाज किल्ड. So since then there was some differences, but right now Turkey and Saudi Arabia, they are joining hands. Okay, so you must be knowing this, in West Asia there are some new developments that are taking place. These developments are around this particular point only, that Turkey wants to revive, okay, Turkey wants to revive the old age of Ottoman Empire, कि कहीं ना कहीं ओल्ड एज ऑफ ऑटोमन एम्पायर को वो रिवाइव करना चाहता है, वो ग्लोरी के दिन वो वापस लाना चाहता है. ओके, सो दिस इज द पॉइंट दैट यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड. ये बात आपको यहाँ पे समझनी है, ठीक है ना. सो ये सारा खेल चल रहा है. ओके, बट दे आर ज्वाइनिंग हैंड्स, वी हैव टू स्टिल वेट एंड वॉच what will be the future here. So we'll move to the next news. Next news is related to this particular report that was published. Okay, so economy may take till financial year 35 to overcome the COVID losses. This is what RBI report is saying. It is saying the damage that has been done to the Indian economy, to overcome those damages, it may take say 13 more years, 13 साल लग जाएंगे हमें उन damages को पूरा करने के लिए. That's the point you have to understand. Okay, so already there are a lot of crises that are going on in this world, and you can say adding one more crisis or any other crisis can seriously impact the growth projection of the whole world. So this Ukraine Russia crisis, it has added, you can say, fuel to the fire. ये major angle हुआ है, ये खराब काम हुआ है. So if Ukraine Russia crisis would not have been there, this particular, you can say the impact of the COVID and all, it would have been reduced, बिल्कुल कम हो जाता हो. But again the problem has been created. Okay, specifically the fuel. When the fuel is expensive, definitely the transportation and logistics cost is going to increase. सब कुछ होगा वहाँ पे. तो ये एक सबसे बड़ी खराब चीज़ है which is there. Okay, other than that there is nothing much, कुछ खास नहीं है यहाँ पे. Okay, so this is what we have in this particular session. I hope these sessions are adding value to your preparation. Thank you very much.